We're walking through the exact workflow a professional data analyst uses to completely transform from manual spreadsheet drudgery into a fully automated powerhouse. Whether you're handling budgets, scheduling, or just cleaning up messy reporting, we're taking you all the way from the absolute basics up to writing your own lightning-fast developer code. Let's just dive right in and ask a pretty crucial question about your daily workflow. Are you managing data, or is the data managing you? Because honestly, if you're doing the exact same manual copy-pasting, formatting, and calculating every single day, well, we need to upgrade your toolkit. The goal here is to be the analyst who automates the boring stuff, not the one permanently stuck doing data entry.
We've got a fantastic roadmap ahead of us. We're going to cover your analyst foundation, the essential formulas, crossing the automation threshold, the developer playbook, handling logic and errors, and finally, unlocking maximum speed.
All right, kicking things off with Section 1, the Analyst's Foundation. Every data analyst needs a rock-solid base before writing the single line of code. At its core, Excel is literally just a digital grid. It's this massive collection of cells arranged in rows and columns. Think of it as your blank canvas for numbers, text, dates, and formulas. But, it's not just a storage bin. It's an incredibly powerful application designed to analyze and translate raw, chaotic data into actually meaningful insights. Before you even think about automating, you've got to master the built-in features. You organize your data cleanly. You rely heavily on PivotTables, which honestly are absolute magic for instantly summarizing massive data sets for your reports without writing a single formula. You use simple charts and graphs to visualize trends in a heartbeat. And for that repetitive data entry, you leverage autofill to drag sequences down a column in seconds. These are your non-negotiable building blocks.
Moving right along to Section 2, the 12 essential Excel formulas. This is the core of about 90% of real-world spreadsheet work. So, if you only learn one set of functions, it really needs to be these first 6 math and logic formulas. They are your everyday daily drivers. You've got sum for fast totals and average for quick stats. Count and count A are absolutely vital for data validation, basically making sure you actually have the right number of records. Then we step into logic with the if statement, letting you build decision rules right into the cell. And finally, the absolute heavy lifters for KPI tracking, SUMIFs and COUNTIFs. These let you create conditional totals and counts based on multiple specific rules. Master SUMIFs and COUNTIFs, and your reporting game is going to level up overnight. Now we have to talk about the great lookup debate. For years, the classic VLOOKUP was the undisputed king, searching left to right to pull matching data. And you're still going to see it everywhere in legacy files. But the modern pro tool, that is XLOOKUP. It completely dethrones VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP. It's so much more flexible, it doesn't just break if you insert a new column, and Microsoft highly recommends it as the best all-around tool, especially if you're just starting out. Rounding out our top 12, we combine those lookups, XLOOKUP, VLOOKUP, and that incredibly flexible index and match combo with formatting and error tools. If error is essential, right? It hides those super frustrating NA errors that just make reports look totally messy. Text is perfect for formatting things like dates and IDs, and round guarantees your financial numbers are pinpoint accurate. All right, Section 3, crossing the automation threshold. Because what happens when you've mastered the formulas, but you're still spending hours every Monday updating the exact same report? That is when you step into macros and VBA. And the absolute fastest way to bridge the gap between manual work and coding is actually the macro recorder. You just hit record, do your manual formatting, and hit stop. Then, and this is the real secret, you press Alt plus F11 to open the VBA editor. You literally look at how Excel translated your actions into code, you study it, and then you rewrite it cleanly. Frankly, this is exactly how most pros first learn to code, and it's still how veterans cheat when they forget a command. Section 4, the Developer's Playbook. Welcome to the Developer tab, where we actually control the hidden automation engine inside Excel. To be a workflow architect, you really have to understand the Excel object model. See, everything in Excel is an object, and it's built on a very strict hierarchy. At the top is the application itself.
Inside the application are your workbooks, the files. Inside those are worksheets, your tabs. And inside a worksheet is a range, the specific cells holding your data. When you write code, you're just navigating down this exact hierarchy to tell Excel what to manipulate. Makes sense, right? And to do that manipulation, developers rely on this specific playbook of 10 daily commands. You use range and cells to grab the data. You declare variables with dim and set to store info in memory. You throw up an MSG box to talk to the user. You can even call your favorite spreadsheet formulas directly in your code using application.worksheet function. It is your ultimate toolkit for taking total control. Section 5. Logic, architecture, and errors. Because writing code isn't just about giving commands. It's about building intelligent workflows. To automate a repetitive task, you're going to combine loops and conditions. Loops, like for next, are what let your script cycle through massive datasets, row by row, automatically, while you literally sit back and watch. Conditions, like if then else, let your script make branching decisions on the fly. Like, if this value is over 100, then highlight it green, else delete it. Combining those two things, that is where the real magic happens. But let's be real. Things don't always go perfectly. A file might be missing, or someone typed text into a number field. Wrapping your logic and proper error handling is what separates a fragile script from a resilient system. Using OnErrorGoToErrorHandler intercepts crashes before they happen. Instead of Excel just completely freezing up on you, you can show a clean message telling the user what went wrong. It's just professional. Finally, Section 6, Maximum Speed and Efficiency. Let's talk about optimizing your code so it runs at lightning speed. Here is a massive pro tip. By default, Excel tries to redraw the screen and recalculate every single formula during every micro step of your loop. That is exhausting for your computer. The trick is simple. At the start of your macro, just toggle application.screenUpdating to false and turn automatic calculations to manual. It basically blindfolds Excel while the code runs in the background. Doing this can literally cut processing time from 5 minutes down to 2 seconds. Just don't forget to turn them back on at the end. Now, when your datasets get highly complex and looping cell by cell is just too slow, you graduate to dictionaries. Using the scripting.dictionary object replaces standard arrays. It stores data in memory as key item pairs, allowing for unbelievably fast organization and nearly instantaneous lookups. Honestly, it's the secret weapon of advanced analysts. What if your workflow requires opening 50 different files from a folder every single morning? To truly automate that, you use the File System Object, or FSO. This lets your code reach completely outside the spreadsheet to manage external files and directory paths directly. You can check if a file exists, copy things, or delete old reports automatically. Your code essentially becomes a system administrator. One last thing to remember. The macro recorder writes really messy code. A true pro refactors that recorded macro into clean, readable structures. A great way to do this is by grouping actions using with blocks. If you're formatting one cell 5 different ways, put it in a with range block, so Excel only has to find that cell once. It's faster, cleaner, and a whole lot easier to read 6 months from now when you inevitably have to update it. We have covered an immense amount of ground in this explainer. You've seen the whole path, from basic data entry in PivotTables through those essential formulas, all the way up to high-speed VBA logic using dictionaries and file system objects. You literally have the developer's playbook in your hands now. So I'll leave you with this. Take a hard look at your daily workload. What repetitive, manual task is dragging you down, and what are you going to conquer and automate today?